and welcome back to Am's Untitled Podcast. I'm Am. Hi, if you've never met me before, it's really nice to meet you. Welcome to my Percy Jackson dedicated podcast. I am so sorry. It has been nearly 2 months since an upload went up. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I took a break from the podcast to study because I was drowning in uni work, and I was just like, you know what? I just need some time to breathe, so I'll take 3 weeks off. So I took some time off from the podcast, and I know it was wrong, and I should have put that on Threads or something. I completely forgot, and my intention was to come back during April. Well, towards the beginning of April. Then I fell really ill. So I was consecutively ill for 3 weeks straight afterwards. And I was just not well. And I didn't have the energy to put into the podcast. I didn't have the energy for uni work. Everything I was doing was pretty half-heartedly. But I'm feeling a lot better now. And I'm so sorry. And I never ever want to take this big of a break again. Because honestly, trying to train myself to get back into this was so difficult. But I'm so happy to be back. And we have the last 8 chapters, I believe, in the Lost Hero book. So I'm really, really excited to talk to you guys about that. And then we finally get to move on to the next book in the Heroes of Olympus series. Um, let's do it. I am so excited. Let's go. Let's go. I've got some energy. Let's go. Okay, so chapter 50 is Jason's point of view, and it opens up with a wolf launching itself at Jason. And a storm spirit comes running towards him and he summons the wind. Basically, this whole big battle is about to kick off, in other words. And Jason takes control of this wind spirit, which is called something, but I can't remember. It says it's called spirit on here, but I feel like that's wrong. I feel like I might have accidentally written that, so maybe that's not true. And he uses it in the battle, of course. He also notices Piper fighting the Earthborns and Leo fighting Keone. Obviously, we all know that Leo had a little bit of an infatuation with Keone until he realized that she was probably one of their worst enemies that they're going to meet so far in this book. So yeah, he's opened his eyes a little bit. Good for him. Then what else is going on? Keone tells them that it is too late and that he is awake. Who is he, guys? Who is he? Anybody made a guess so far? Anybody tried to like put the puzzle pieces together? I don't know. Did I give you guys any hints? I can't remember if I gave you any hints in the last few episodes. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. Um, and they see Hera getting smaller, and Hera states that the giants are awakening. Well, that's kind of obvious, isn't it, at this point? Ground is shaking. I mean, if it's not giants, who else is it going to be, really? Leo tells Piper to talk to the cage to slow her down and convince Gaia to go back to sleep. In other words, Leo wants Piper to use her power of charm speaking, which is one of the gifts given by Aphrodite to her daughters, basically. I don't know if her sons can do it. Does Aphrodite have any sons? I think she does. It's just like we rarely really hear about them, to be honest, because I think pretty much the whole Aphrodite cabin at Camp Half Blood is all women, to be honest. So yeah, maybe she doesn't have any sons. I don't know. That'd be an interesting thing to look into. I'd love to ask Rick that question one day. How come there's no boys from the Aphrodite cabin? Anyway, sorry, went on a bit of a tangent there. That's not important right now. Leo takes a circular thing out of his tool belt and plugs it into the Tempest. Porphyrion rises and praises Gaia. Uh-oh. So if you don't know, Porphyrion is one of the big giants. Jason tells them to free Hera while he deals with the giant. Not necessarily the best move, I want to say, but you know, I encourage his. Well, I appreciate his courage. Well, we're not really sure how good he's going to be at defeating a giant by himself, but you know. Porphyrion asks Jason who he is, and he introduces himself as the son of Jupiter. So don't forget, in these books, um, children from why can't I talk? Children from not Camp Half Blood are children of the gods from their Roman side. So instead of Zeus, it's Jupiter, basically. The giant tells Hera that he is going to destroy them at their roots. Now, this is a very important statement because I remember reading this for the first time and completely overlooking those words. But this idea of roots comes up often. So just remember that. I think it becomes more and more obvious maybe in the next book what Porphyrion means by that. But it's just yeah, just remember those. The words destroy them at their roots is a very, very important quote. Rick is a genius. I have no idea how he does it. He just puts these Easter eggs in where you're going to be distracted and not think too much about it. But when you go back and you're like, huh. I see what he means. He's very clever. Yes, he is one of the best authors, in my opinion, in the world. Um, the giant raises the storm spirits, wolves, and earthborns. Uh-oh. That's already not looking good. Like, just reading that off the screen, like right here, right now, I can tell you that's not looking good. And Piper is still talking to the cage, basically trying to charm speak it into not crushing Hera, basically. Jason lists all of his achievements and launches himself at the giant. There was a bit of an ego battle there. Um, like, I think you guys might have picked up if you've been listening to the podcast for a while that Jason's not my favorite. Like, I've never liked him, and I'm not sure what it is. I think it's because Percy was such a perfect protagonist that I find it really hard to get on board with anyone else. And obviously, I'm biased because I love Percy. I think he's amazing. So maybe I had such I have to like I struggle to remember that they're two different people, and like obviously Percy, he is like one of my favorite fictional men ever. So I have to understand that they're two separate characters in two separate storylines, and Jason is not supposed to replace Percy. They are both in a league of their own, which is I think something that a lot of people struggled with reading in Heroes of Olympus, especially with Percy not being there. People found it hard to they missed Percy, and so did I. Like, I'll be honest, when I read this whole book and there was no sign of Percy whatsoever, I was a bit like, oh, like, oh no, I don't really want to read on because I miss Percy. But now, like, I realize that as I come towards the end of the book that obviously Percy is an invisible string in this book that's going to be pulled in the next one. So you have to give things time, guys. Rick is laying a foundation for a new story, and that's something that we all have to go into this book with an open mind with, that this is a foundation of what is going to come. This is a whole new series, a whole new set of characters, basically. Anyway, Jason stabs the giant in his ear and then the lightning strikes him down. Porphyrion tells Jason that he knows what will destroy him. Now, that is a very, very interesting choice of words, I want to say. Anyway, the giant raises his spear at Jason. Uh-oh, this is not looking good, guys, is it? Leo and Piper manage to open the cage and Hera is freed. Oh, yay. We love her, don't we? If you guys can't sense the sarcasm in my tone, I think you can. You know what I've noticed about me is that not only is my face really expressive, but my tone is very expressive. So like when it comes to characters I don't like, I feel like you guys can hear it in my tone. So I'm so sorry about that. I try my best to talk nicely about all characters, but there are a few that I just really don't like, and Hera is just one of them. The giant decides to retreat and disappears back into the earth, thank God, and Hera changes form, but Jason sees it and he can feel his body burning. Now, if anyone's confused as to why that's a problem, is because when the gods change form, um, mortals, demigods, they're not supposed to look at them because it can um set their body alight, basically, and that's just what's happened to Jason. So anyway, that's the end of that chapter. Chapter 51 is Piper's point of view, and it opens up with Piper running towards Jason. The hunters have been revived, and Thalia kneels by Piper's side. So, if any of you have forgotten, Thalia is Jason's sister. Yeah, they're both forbidden children of Zeus, basically. And Thalia commands Hera to save him, basically. Yeah, too right, tell her. They've come all this way, they went through all this trouble to free Hera from this cage. The least she can do is save Jason at this point. Piper notices that he's still breathing and she speaks to him, asking him to wake up, and he does. So that element of charm speak is coming in there as well, which I think is really interesting. Thalia offers Piper a chance to become a hunter. Wow, that is an amazing honor. Like I remember when Thalia was first offered by Artemis to become a huntress, and that was such a big emotional moment for me because I love Thalia as a character. I think that she's brilliant, and now seeing Thalia offer that chance to someone else, I think that was such an amazing character moment. And like I said, like Rick comes up with these incredible moments that it's just it's hard to like he does it. He just surprises me every time, is all I'm trying to say. And Hera tells Piper the real reason why she was chosen for this quest. Thalia says that she needs to tell Annabeth what's happened and that she will see them at camp. Oh, my girl Annabeth. Honestly, she's my favorite character, and like not seeing her in this book as well. Like very briefly seeing her in this book. Like it was nice to see her, but I do miss her being one of the main three in the trio. But yeah, like I said, guys, separate story, new characters need to be introduced. We've got to learn to deal with that. And I really struggled with that, so I understand why people find it hard. Um, Hera tells him that it was part of his destiny to find his own way back to the camp that he is from. Basically, Jason's from Camp Jupiter and he accidentally woke up in Camp Half-Blood because Hera wiped his memory, in other words. So she's trying to make it seem like she did this noble thing for him, but let's be honest, she just wanted to manipulate him. But whatever. Hera turns the world upside down and they end up back at camp. Oh, thank God. Far, far away from her, hopefully. And Leo throws up and Chiron is confused and Piper says that they are back and that's where the chapter ends. So yeah, a lot sort of happened in that chapter, and I like reading Piper's point of view. To be honest, like there's always some really interesting things in there, and because she's probably the only female protagonist in this book, like it is easier to relate with her than it is to other people, if you know what I mean. Chapter 52 is Piper's point of view again, and it opens up with Piper waking up, and Drew is obviously being her annoying self. Oh my gosh. You know what? There's not a lot of characters that piss me off in this, but Drew is just one of those characters, and I suppose that's exactly what she's designed to be. That is how Rick has created her, so he's done like a great job at doing that. But it's always that snobby, like bitchy sort of characters, excuse my French. Yeah, and Drew is just one of those. Piper challenges Drew and she says that she can't do that because camp rules state that Piper can, or she gives her the option to step down, basically. Basically, Piper wants to be head counselor of the Aphrodite cabin, so she's challenged Drew, and of course, Drew is scared, so she says that it's against camp rules for Piper to challenge her. Piper says that either she steps down or she takes the option. Piper pulls out of her dagger and presses it against Drew's chin, um, claiming that they can have a duel instead. Basically, in other words, Piper has made this big realization about who she is. Like, when she first came to camp initially, she felt quite intimidated and overwhelmed. You know, she didn't want to be a daughter of Aphrodite at one point. But now she's realized that she does have this courage and this strength that she should use. So this is a big character moment for her as well. And I really love the feminist side of things. I think it's amazing. And I love Rick for putting moments like that in there. It's really inspiring for young girls, I think. Um, Drew steps down and Piper tells her to stay away from Jason because he's hers. Whoa! I was like, I remember reading that in the book and being like, damn. I was like, Piper's got some next level guts to say that to her, but I love her. I love her for that. And you know, I think one of the reasons why I resonate with Piper so much is because she reminds me so much of Annabeth. Like they're so different but so similar at the same time, and I think that's what I love so much about her character. The rest of the Aphrodite cabin cheer for her, and Chiron calls her to his office. Oh, that's when you get called into an office. When is that ever a good thing? Like I remember reading that and being like, oh, she just had this like massive moment of glory, and immediately we're being humbled by being called into Chiron's office. Piper says that she's seen the news and that Jane has been fired from her dad's company, and he has a new life coach, which is Coach Hedge, and that he has no memories about what happened last week. So, if you didn't remember what happened, so this woman Jane was working with Gaia basically, and she kidnapped Piper's dad and put him in danger. But now Coach Hedge is looking after Piper's dad, so she doesn't have to worry, which I think is really lovely. It is also revealed that Melly is working for her dad as well as um. Sorry, hold on one second. Yeah, so Melly is also working for Piper's dad, and Piper's dad appears and he asks her if she's happy in her new school, and she says that she thinks she will be. Her dad gets the phone call and the video call obviously cuts off. Now you see, this is a significant moment because Piper was very like Percy in the sense that she never felt like she belonged anywhere, but now she's finally found this home with good friends and good people, and she's so happy with that. And I think it's such a lovely moment for her as well. And it was nice to just experience that. Like I said, like Piper is probably one of my favorite characters in like out of the main seven. So it's so nice to see her just like settled in and feeling like she belongs because that's all anybody really wants. Piper sees Jason on the beach and he tells her that his memories are bad and that Rachel and Annabeth are coming for a meeting tonight. Ooh, that's not good. Jason also tells her that Leo has something to show them and Piper burns the hunter card. In other words, she's not taking up Thalia's offer. She is quite happy just being a half blood, which I think is lovely. And she tells them that they need to go and find Leo, and that's where the chapter cuts off. So, chapter 53 is Leo's point of view, and it opens up with Nissa and Jake realizing that Leo has fire powers. Obviously, he is one of the rare children of Hephaestus who have fire powers, which I think is so cool. Honestly, like, I remember reading that and being like, wow, Rick just comes up with the most original ideas. It's great. When he enters Bunker 9, he sees Festus and he tells Jason that he's going to reuse the head, basically. Guys, remember that. Remember it. It's so important. Rick is literally planting the seeds that he's going to water in future books. Chiron reveals that the map on the wall is from the Civil War. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Leo tells Chiron that the place found him. In other words, I think it was his father's way of pointing him towards the right direction. Basically, sometimes all you need is a sign, and I think that that was the sign that Leo needed, which I think is so cool. He pulls out his old drawing, which is a blueprint of a flying ship, and that Festus was the head of the ship on the front of the ship. Guys, the Argo the second is coming to life. Oh my god, I'm so excited. Sorry, this is all for the next books, so I can't say too much right now. Can't say too much right now. I'm sorry. Leo decides to name the ship Argo the Second, which he is building for their next journey. And then he realizes that they will have to set sail for Greece, the original Olympus, and that's where the chapter ends. Again, mind-blowing chapter. Such a small chapter, but it has so much significance. It is amazing. Chapter 54, again, Leo's point of view. Very, very short chapter. I think it was like 2 pages or something. And it's basically Chiron telling them that they have 6 months at most before the giants rise, and there's going to be a war between Mother Earth and the original gods and goddesses, basically, and that they should set sail by the summer solstice. Jake makes Leo the senior counselor of the Hephaestus cabin, and Leo finally feels like he has a home. And you know what? That was such a heartwarming moment. Like, Leo has had such a rough childhood, and like, I feel so much sympathy for his character. And he's basically like this whole time been wondering about, sorry, minor interruption. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, Leo not finally having a home. And you know what? It was so nice to see him finally get the moment that he deserves. That feeling of belonging is something that as human beings we naturally want. And now he finally has that. And I think there's nothing more beautiful to him than that at that moment. And I just, oh, it's just such a stunning moment. I'm not gonna lie, might have teared up just slightly, but that's just because I love him so much and he is adorable. Um, anyway, chapter 55 is back to Jason's point of view, and it opens up with Jason waiting in cabin 1. He's remembering his past, especially his friends Dakota, Gwendolyn, Hazel, Bobby, and Raina. Hazel, Raina. Very, very important names, guys. Oh, sorry, I think that was just a tickle in my throat. Anyway, and he remembers that his relationship with Raina is affecting his feelings for Piper. In other words, do I spoil this right now? Do I wait till the next book? Basically, Raina and him were a bit of a thing. I don't know if they were ever official or whatever, but yeah, that's gonna cause problems in his relationship with Piper, basically. Jason talks to his dad's statue, asking him for guidance, and Hera appears behind him. Woman, he was talking to his father. You are not his mother. Why are you there, basically? Why are you there to make things worse for him? Hera reveals that she sent Jason to camp to bridge the gap. So, now, again, metaphorical sentence, but she's talking about bridging a gap between Camp Jupiter and Camp Half-Blood, basically, which will happen soon, is all I'm saying. Soon. Oh my, bit of tickle there. Basically, what Hera is trying to say is that the children of the Roman side of the gods and the Greek side of the gods need to be united to fight the big threat that's coming, basically. Um, basically, she keeps telling Jason that she's refusing to give his memory back, and he has to get them himself. Oh my god, she is so annoying, isn't she? She's really working my last nerve. They've literally just saved her life, and she's still like, I'm not going to give your memories back. Honestly. See, guys, you see why I don't like her. This is literally the reason I don't like her. Anyway. Hera tells him that he is her champion and that he will bring the unity between the demigods and Olympus. Yeah, I don't know about that sentence, to be honest. Well, okay, whatever. If that's what she thinks, and Jason is her champion, fair enough. She gives him Gladius and leaves. Thank God, we don't want you here. And the chapter ends with Piper coming into his cabin to tell him that Rachel and Annabeth are here and that Chiron has summoned the council, basically. All right, the last chapter we're going to be talking about is chapter 56, which is the last chapter in the book. And it opens up with them all in a council meeting. Jason, Leo, and Piper basically fill everyone in about what had happened on this quest. Clarice realizes that it's a Roman camp that Jason is talking about, Camp Jupiter. And Chiron says that because of the long standing rivalry, the camps don't really cross paths, which is fair, I guess. Like, sometimes it's better to avoid the confrontation. So if you just keep them separate from each other and away from each other's worlds, I guess that works best. Clarice warns against sailing to the Roman camp as they would see it as an attack, but Jason insists that they have to try. Now, Clarice, as silly as she might be at times, she does have a point right there. If they go with an army to Camp Jupiter, it's gonna look like they're trying to attack them. So I completely understand why she is saying what she is saying. And obviously I appreciate Jason's confidence because of what Hera's told him, like he needs to unite both camps. Okay, fine, fair enough. And there was a quote here that I really liked that's very, very important, which is foes bear arms to the doors of death. Doors of death, very, very, very important. And foes is a very important term as well. So we'll come to that in the next books because I can't tell you what that is right now because that's a big spoiler. Um, and obviously Annabeth offers to join them. She realizes that Percy is in the other camp, and Jason tells her he probably doesn't remember who he is, and that is where the book finishes. What an amazing start to a new series. Like, honestly, by the time I got to the end of this book, I was just hooked. I was like, I want to know what happens next because this series feels a lot more darker, it feels a lot more mature, and I feel like Rick is transforming his writing by keeping the essence of it, which is amazing. I loved that. Obviously, Percy is the invisible string of this book. I've talked about this a lot in the first five books, but now Percy is this invisible string. And I really do miss reading his point of views, his jokes. Jason is a lot more of a serious character, so I don't really get to enjoy that humor as much, which is something that I missed. But I understand, like I said before, that they're two separate characters and they've got different mindsets and different goals, which I completely understand too. I love Leo. He's so goofy, and I'm glad he found his place in Cabin 9. He's a really, really special character, and I just adore him so much. And yeah, my girl Piper, she's just a slayer, isn't she? She's just amazing. She's learned a lot in this book, how to stand her ground and, accepting herself for who she is and like having this courage, like seeing this courage in herself that she never knew existed, which I love. And I think she's such an inspirational character to young women. And I wish like I'd read these earlier on because I would have loved to have like a role model character like that. Like Annabeth is my ultimate, like she inspired me so much, but Piper equally gives me that much inspiration, which I think is amazing. Thalia was back in this book. I really missed her, and I can't wait to see more of her as this series progresses. And we do get lots more Thalia cameos, so stay tuned for that. You'll hear a lot of fangirling in the next few episodes, probably. I missed Annabeth. She wasn't in this book as much, and obviously I understand why. And of course, Rachel, the Oracle, just doing what she's doing. She's amazing. She's really grown on me as a character, and just, yeah, I'm just really happy with how these books started. Um, Overall, the book was just great. Like it was twists and turns, and it was an amazing ride, and it was a lot of fun. And yeah, it was laying the foundation for a whole new story and a whole new prophecy, which I loved. So yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Don't worry, weekly uploads will be back now. I'm really gonna get on it. And I'm really excited because I kind of want to finish Heroes of Olympus by the end of this year, basically, with you guys, and then move on to a few of Rick's other works. So that is my plan. But if we don't finish it, there's no rush. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying talking about these. Like, I'm so happy. Like, one book is already done, and it only gets more and more interesting from here. So stay tuned. There'll be lots of fangirling, and I apologize for that. I apologize for revealing any spoilers as well. I did forget to say a spoiler disclaimer at the beginning, so please do forgive me for that. I'm so sorry about the break. Like I said, I'll be back now. um, Episodes will go up weekly. I haven't decided what day, so it might just be that it goes up randomly in the week, but you will get an upload. Um, Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Threads to be the first to know when a new episode goes live. They're both at Amazon Title Podcast. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. I really would appreciate that. I'm really just loving doing this podcast. Like, I'm smiling so big right now because I've really missed this. Like, I forgot how much joy this podcast really brings me, and it's such a lovely uplifter. And even though uni is stressful, like, this just makes me feel a lot better. So thank you guys so much. And it wouldn't be possible without all of your support. So thank you for that. And also, episodes are available to stream on Spotify as well, if that's where you prefer to listen to your podcasts. Follow me there as well. And I will be speaking to you guys very soon. Mwah! Bye, guys.